The bullets that ended Big Paul Castellano's life last night may very well have been a payoff for getting into such trouble with the
Packed,
Fed.
hushed courtroom, John Gotti sat with a wise guy grin as the jury returned with its verdict. He stared at the jury as he had stared at the witnesses who testified against him, daring them to continue.
Today, we are going to explore one of the most iconic names from the Mafia world, a figure who was a sensation of his time, not just because of his crimes, but because of his style. Mob boss John Gotti was so well known in the crime world and even in the regular world that he earned the title of the Dapper Don. His reputation as a fashion icon followed his ascent to power in the strongest US Mafia group at that time, La Cosa Nostra, in the 1970s and 1980s. In today's bite-sized episode, we'll explore the strange and fascinating life story of John Gotti. We'll reveal what bloodthirsty actions helped him reach the highest rank in his Mafia family and how his stylish fashion made him a household name across America. Tune in now for the best-dressed Mafia Don, Dapper John Gotti. John Gotti was born on October 27, 1940, and had a tough childhood. Growing up on the streets of New York City, he soon got involved with the neighborhood criminals. Impressed by their expensive suits and lavish lifestyles, he started working for them by running errands. Before long, he was fully absorbed into the criminal world when he started committing small crimes to earn money. Gradually, Gotti's criminal activities grew larger, and on turning 16, he quit school and joined the Fulton Rockaway Boys, a local group of teenagers who committed automobile thefts. It was during this period that Gotti developed close relationships with people who would help in creating the infamous Gambino Mafia family. So, how did Gotti's rise to power officially start? The late 1970s saw John Gotti's influence in the American Mafia on the rise. He allied himself with Paul Castellano's powerful Gambino crime family and had developed an exceptional ability to commit all kinds of crimes. Castellano noticed his charisma and leadership abilities and gave him the position of captain inside the group. Gotti now had power and set about taking charge of the Mafia world while establishing his status as a rising star in the criminal underworld of the New York Mafia. So, why the nickname the Dapper Don? With the rise of his power and income, Gotti started to improve his image. He adopted a stylish appearance with his chic wardrobe selections. More and more, he became known for his flawless appearance and meticulous attention to detail. When Gotti joined the Gambino family's Bergen crew as a captain, his attire drew attention. His choices of elegant suits made with fine fabrics and the colors of navy blue, charcoal gray, and black impressed others. These outfits didn't just look attractive though. They also gave him an image of dominance and authority. He also started adding expensive ornaments into his ensembles to further enhance his style. He accessorized his custom-made suits with silk ties, gold cufflinks, and pocket squares expertly folded inside his suit jacket. Gotti also developed a taste for high-end watches, particularly the gold Rolex President model, which became a status symbol for money and power. Gotti was not just well-dressed, but increasingly meticulous with his personal grooming. He kept his hair styled, his face clean-shaven, and his skin tanned. Despite the stress and difficulties he encountered as a Mafia Don, his well-kept look gave him the image of a film hero. Beyond his criminal activities, John Gotti gained a reputation as a cultural icon whose fashion sense was imitated and adored by everyone. His extravagant demeanor and excellent sense of style attracted the public's and the media's attention. Gotti's presence in courtrooms during his criminal trials garnered huge media attention, as the general public were dazzled by his elegant suits and unmatchable charismatic manner. Although his reputation was ultimately damaged by his illicit actions and subsequent jail terms, his sense of style was unmistakable. So, let's dig into why Gotti became so famous and how he became a Don. While Gotti's style and charisma caught the public eye, The reality was that he was a ruthless criminal who was gaining notoriety due to his participation in high-profile criminal activities. The 1985 murder of Gotti's predecessor, Paul Castellano, was perhaps the most infamous event that made Gotti a household name, clearing his way to take over leadership of the Gambino family. A brutal murder that occurred in downtown New York City in broad daylight, Castellano's assassination shocked the criminal underworld and captured the attention of the media. Following the murder, Gotti became the focus of increased media scrutiny due to the sensationalized nature of the crime and the ensuing change in power within the Gambino family. Gotti rose to the heights of fame during a period of time when people were interested in knowing about these controversial criminals, as witnessed by the popularity of The Godfather and other Mafia movies. The media was riveted by Gotti's charismatic demeanor, his slick, fashionable appearance, and the mystique of the Mafia, and followed him everywhere to provide footage for an eager public. He frequently appeared in magazine articles, on television shows, and in newspaper headlines. The public's insatiable need for stories about his criminal activities and outlandish personality made him a public figure, and Gotti lapped it all up. Due to his high-profile notoriety, Gotti's judicial battles developed into remarkable spectacles that had the public spellbound. His choice of stylish and perfect clothes made him an intriguing figure to watch, and his charismatic courtroom presence helped make the Dapper Don as famous as any Hollywood movie star. The media excitedly covered 3 big trials involving him in the late 80s, scrambling to capture every moment of the drama unfolding in the courtroom and labeling Gotti Teflon Don when he managed to duck and weave through any charges, coming out unscathed. Later, it would be revealed that there was evidence of jury tampering and witness intimidation. Despite John Gotti's ruthless criminal activities, he had a strong devotion to his family. Gotti valued his responsibilities as a husband and father, and as best as possible, tried to shield his family from the perils of his criminal life. Gotti and his wife Victoria had a close, supportive bond, and he attempted to keep his personal life and his crimes strictly separate. It's ironic, but part of Gotti's attraction as a person of mystery was his ability to be both a violent mafia boss and a loving, loyal family man. Beyond his criminal actions, John Gotti had a profound influence on American culture. Numerous books, documentaries, and films have been made about his life, all idealizing him rather than exposing him as a mere criminal. His status as the best-dressed Mafia Don ensures that his name and reputation persist as a symbol of strength and charm. There's another interesting part of the legend of the Dapper Don, and that's his comparison to the mythical Robin Hood. Gotti started to be viewed as the kind Mafia leader who protected the poor while preying on the powerful. Although he was a notorious criminal, he was still praised because of his ability to portray a charming and gentle persona. He was viewed as a defender and a provider for the underprivileged, which, despite the fact that he was involved in criminal acts, gave Gotti a strange image that muddled the lines between hero and villain. The massive crimes of John Gotti went beyond those of the typical mafia, which made him an even more interesting character. He entered all infamous markets, including drug trafficking, illegal gambling, and construction racketeering. Due to his massive engagement in these businesses, Gotti was able to gain control over different facets of society. He was willing to take part in illegal operations, and he was able to outwit law enforcement for a long period of time, displaying his exceptional skills as a criminal mastermind. The Gambino family's rule under John Gotti came to a spectacular end in 1992 when he was eventually found guilty of illegal gambling, extortion, loan sharking, racketeering, obstruction of justice, tax evasion, conspiracy to murder, and most importantly, 5 cases of murder. He was given a life sentence without the chance of parole and remained incarcerated until his death in 2002 due to throat cancer. Teflon Don's demise was brought by the law enforcement authorities that were committed to bringing him justice. Salvatore, or Sammy the Bull Gravano, and other former colleagues who later testified for the government aided Gotti's conviction. At this turning moment, the Mafia era ended, as did Gotti's reign as the flashy head of the Gambino family and the power of the Cosa Nostra in New York. It's impossible to underestimate John Gotti's influence on American culture and crime. His ascent to fame due to massive media attention, increased interest in the Mafia, and its renowned personalities. Gotti's identity as the Dapper Don became a byword for strength, style, and an ideal interpretation of the life of crime. The Dapper Don, John Gotti, captured the public imagination as no other Mafia leader has ever done. He posed a suave, charismatic figure who looked out for the poor while also being a ruthless, notorious criminal feared by many. His life continues to serve as an inspiration for art, literature, and movies that delve into the complex relationship between powerful leaders and the shadowy underworld of the Mafia.